right, we should be going live now for a brand new episode of the Comic Den to talk about comics here in the Den. As idea of it to be as a weekly show, but I was sick last week, so that's why it didn't happen. It happens, right? And so, but we're here to talk about some Green Lantern and stuff. So let's hit the new current run of Green Lantern. So, but yeah, let's hit the intro and get to it. All right, there we have it. That was the intro. Quite a beautiful intro. But yeah, was sick last week because sickness sucks. But
yeah, it does.
I'm all better now for the most part, and so I'm good enough at least to be able to do this. So it was quite disappointing because I was really prepping. I had almost everything read, and then I just wasn't feeling it the day before, and it knocked me out for a while. So yeah. And I'll be honest, like it took me a while to even just feel as I am now, but I like barely even read anything this last week. But I don't know what it was. I don't know. I could just say the first day I was sick was awful, but after that everything got better. So
yeah, I read a lot of Green Lantern over the week, so hopefully I don't get my plot lines confused.
Yeah, there's yeah. We'll get into the main bit of Green Lantern here shortly. I'm really excited to actually get into this, and so. But let's see here. I'm trying to pull up the chat thingy. Let's see here. Why is it not working? All right, I'm trying to troubleshoot with a.
Well, so far in the chat, I see Jamie, aka
welcome in,
CEO Star Wars Non-Toxic Alliance, Red Shirts Remastered,
Chris, welcome in, Chris.
Comic Book Fan.
What's up, Comic?
And Gannon.
What's up? What's up? Yeah, that's weird. It's not wanting.
And a special guest co-host, we have Leia sleeping in the background.
Aw, it's so sweet. So adorable.
Where if I can get that is the that is one of 5 of our cats.
That is odd. Why I'm not able to do anything there. Okay. Yeah, I see you all in the chat. For some reason, my thingy to make it show on screen isn't wanting to link up properly, but not in the way that it usually messes up. So, but anyway, besides the point, you all aren't being neglected. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming by, and yeah. Let's just get right into stuff, though, of anything that we've read over the last week, though. You were talking about that you've read a bit of Green Lantern, as have I, as I've been finishing up specifically this stack of comics, which is all the issues of this run, except for like the most recent, say 2 that we're not necessarily covering. But yeah, just to show how much that we're just overall talking about, and so. But not only was I focusing on reading all those to be prepared for today's conversation, I was also finished reading most of, and this is actually a great read, this Omnibus. Look at that.
I really, that is not on either DC Infinite or Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah. Like, there's no really digital option to read this stuff, I think.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Which, yeah. I was looking at that, and I was like, that's unfortunate for the people that mainly just read digital, especially for something like this. That it's a really nice collection, and you get a good bit of bang for your buck, but it's a lot of bucks to drop at once.
Yeah,
And so
I wouldn't mind having that because that's a good
it's
story. I like it.
it's really good. It's yeah. And so I highly recommend checking it out if to anybody that has the chance to, the opportunity to. Um, I really like it.
Yeah,
There's a lot of great tie-ins with it. Like, there's only like one that I'd say I like just wasn't jiving with me at all, but that's one out of like what 20 crossovers or something like that.
yeah.
And so it was good, awesome stuff. Welcome in, Castro.
Astro Comic Con.
Yes, the Comic Cons. So, but yeah, I really didn't read much this last week just because like I was just kind of like more just trying to focus on just trying to be okay, and I don't know,
Yeah.
can't focus at all on reading when I'm feeling sick.
You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was focusing on that, and then, oh, now it's working. Just randomly all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Starting with Patrick's message. Okay. That was kind of weird. All right. Anyway, besides the point though, what was I saying? I got distracted by the thing working. I haven't really read anything. There's just this last week other than I finished up the Green Lantern issues today and yesterday that I didn't read before getting sick, and then yeah, I didn't really read any other comic stuff because I was also wanting to just finish up a novel. So, but it's all good now. But you broke the dingus. Yeah, you did for a moment. I was surprised to see it just randomly start working. So, good to know it works though. But yeah, what about you? Anything else that you've read that's worth mentioning?
I mean, this week, as far as comic books go, I have been reading a lot of Green Lantern. Trying to think what all. There was a lot of stuff that I reread, like stuff that I have read before.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, in some cases, multiple times I've reread. But I read the current run of Green Lantern War. Well, I say current run. I read Green Lantern War Journal.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Which is
we'll probably touch on that a bit then.
Yeah, I say current run, but it's like, I mean, it's done.
Yeah, it was a really nice 12-issue series.
Yeah, it was a good series.
We'll get into that in a moment, but as it does tie into the Green Lantern stuff, especially the last like 3-4 main issues of it, of the stuff that they did. But yeah, but glad to hear you did read that one though, as I personally really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that there's a moment in that where I'm like, it hit me in the feels because it's like I've never, not a lot of comics just like really like touch me in the feels in the way that comic did at one point, and it yeah, there's one part in particular with that one where it gets really emotional. So
hey, Steve.
But yes, welcome in, Steve number 2. Thank you, Castro. I appreciate it. Castro's also been saying that he's been reading Fatal by Ed Brubaker, as well as Berserk Volume 1 and The Crow. Crow I did read with a few weeks ago, which is really good. So, W Feeling Touching Comics, yeah. It's a great read. I think War Journal is. I hope War Journal comes down as like just a very good like 12 issue, and while it does have ramifications, you could very much read it as just its own thing and not really need to know much else. And
Yeah.
so I think it could go down as one of those stories of like it's just a good story that you could just read on its own. You don't necessarily need anything else. And so and I definitely recommend it too, especially to have just a great story where John Stewart's the highlight of the story as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're a really big fan of the John Stewart Green Lantern, this is a book for you.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. So but
Yeah, everything else I've read, I'm looking at my list of what I've read this week, and other than that, all of it was Green Lantern rereads.
hey, there's nothing wrong with that, to just reread no,
No?
it is Castro. It is Green Lantern War Journal, which is a Green Lantern 12 issue Green Lantern series about John Stewart that came out.
Yeah.
So very highly recommend.
Not Punisher War Journal.
Yeah. Patrick says, "Go touch a comic book, folks." Exactly.
Yeah.
Comic says he's been reading the new JSA, New Nightwing, Green Lantern, and New Gods. I've only been reading Green Lantern and New Gods out of those. I've actually never gotten into New Gods, but I decided to give this new one a shot because of it's part of it, the All In, and who is it? Ram V that's writing it, and he's a pretty good writer, and so I definitely recommend that. Welcome in, Rolando. Welcome in. It's new here. Again,
but yeah, the stuff that I've been reading, I'm actually gearing up to start a reread of Blackest Night.
Kusher saying he touch Cannon's comic collection.
Oh,
well there. Oh, that's funny. All right, but anyway, no, that's awesome. I'd like to read more Green Lantern stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, Blackest Night is kind of well, I mean, if you read just the main story, it's not as daunting.
It's only
read
8 issues long.
Say again?
I think it's only 8 issues long for the main
story.
story.
But if you want to get the whole story, it's pretty daunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one of the first sort of like comic not like a main Comic-Con, but it was like actually first time I went to like a small, I want to say they called it like a comic fan fest or swap or something like that. I don't remember exactly what. But the first time I went to one, I remember seeing a deal that they had for Blackest Night. It was the first 8 issues of it. So like the main miniseries to it.
Right.
Then I think it was all 3 issues of the Batman tie-in, the first 2 issues of the Superman tie-in, and then they had an issue of Brightest Day 0.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to get all that for, I believe, $15, and I was very happy about it. So talk about a killer deal.
Yeah, it's a pretty extensive story.
There's a bunch of stuff too. I've only read the main stuff and the tie-ins that I had there, but I'd like to read all of it. There's a lot to it. So, but yeah, there's a big plethora of Green Lantern stuff to read, and it's personally my second favorite part of the DC universe to get into. Like of the mythos, like Batman's number 1. Like it feels generic to say, but there's a reason why Batman's number 1. But for me, Green Lantern is a very strong second place. If I said close second, that's a lie. But Green Lantern, I just love all the different stuff with it, and we'll be getting into a bit of why I love a bit of the Green Lantern stuff in general with our main topic, because I think part of the reason why I really enjoy this run is because I think it touches on all the aspects of why I love Green Lantern, and so Looking forward to we'll be talking about that here in a moment. But before we do, you don't have anything else to highlight as far as what you've read, do you?
No.
All right. Well, then let's get into the different comics of what's coming out that we're looking forward to. Let me. Hold on. Let me. Actually, first. Oh, that's not what I want. Wrong button. Set this up here really quick. Bear with me, folks. But I'm just going to share that screen there so you can see all the stuff I pull up. And then there we go. All right. So let's talk about what's coming out this week that we're looking forward to. You know, is this important to go support your local comic store, or, you know, if you're a digital reader too, just know what's coming out. So, but yeah, let's get into what we're looking forward to. Is stuff that this is either on both our pull lists, at least one of our pull lists, and then I have a few things as well that I'm just want to highlight that caught my eye. And so, but one thing that we're going to begin talking about that's for sure on our pull list, Absolute Batman #5, which I believe this is the last issue of this arc, isn't it?
I think it is.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, this series has been killer, and so.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's probably been one of the best runs of Batman. Oh man,
yeah,
in probably good 5 years.
In a long time, long time. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been really rich. It's there's a reason why it's topping the charts right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Well deserved.
Definitely a title that had to stay on my pull list when I did my big cut due to financial issues.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving all the Absolute Universe stuff. Batman being the main one there, but the other stuff has been good as well, and I can't wait for their Wave 2 that comes out, and I think it starts a little over a month from now when we're gonna either mid to late March is when we're starting.
Right.
Flash, I think, is first, and then Green Lantern, and then Martian Manhunter. I don't remember if it's in that order or not, but those are the three. But yeah, right, Castro? He's so buff. Love to see it. Yeah, I love to see how he looks. But yeah, Absolute Batman #5 as it wraps up that first arc. We then have, for me, Spawn, issue 361, as it's getting into an exciting era. I think, is this the issue after I think Todd McFarlane just came back, started writing it? So, yeah. So, more stuff in the world of Spawn for me.
Same comic book fan. I want them to do a Green Arrow as well.
Green Arrow would be cool. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with all the others. For sure. All right. Here we have Aquaman #2, which is on my pull list. Actually, Aquaman is written by Jeremy Adams, who also wrote this Green Lantern stuff that we're about to be talking about. I thought he did a pretty good job with the first issue of Aquaman, so I'm looking forward to checking out issue 2 of Aquaman. As I think Aquaman's an exciting new era that is worth checking out, even if you're not an Aquaman fan, just because it's different, So it might be something that you might enjoy. So, but yeah, Aquaman #2.
I think the first one's on DC Infinite now.
It might be. Maybe go check it out. We then have Transformers #17, which I think this is the start of another new arc or they just began one. I'm trying to remember if they're how far into an arc they are right now, but yeah, Transformers has been excellent, and so definitely worth checking out if you haven't.
Yeah, if you are an Ultra subscriber, Aquaman 1 is on
awesome
DC Infinite.
Yeah, Comics says yes, Aquaman good so far. Love the artwork of issue 1. Yeah, the artwork was fantastic. I don't who did I already closed out, but whoever the artist of Aquaman is fantastic. But yeah, this is one from your pull list, the Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider. I don't know what you think about it.
I've really been enjoying that run. It's Stephanie Phillips writes it, and I mean, for the most part, if you have ever read any of her work, pretty much everything that Stephanie Phillips writes is gold.
Nice.
And she's done, she started this run of Spider-Gwen, and it's pretty cool.
Nice. Nice. Good to hear. I've never gone out of my way to read a Spider-Gwen comic, so it's not to say that I don't like the character, it's just other stuff to read.
Yeah. I mostly just picked it up because Stephanie Phillips is writing it, and then just kind of got hooked.
Yeah, fair. All right. Okay, next 3 issues is stuff I have that's not on my list or on either of our pull lists, but it's stuff that I think is worth mentioning as this new series coming out that I'm...
Did we go through everything that's actually on our pull list? Oh, that's right. Never mind. I remember you're saving
there's one thing we're saving, yes.
Yeah, saving that one for last. I gotcha.
Yeah. But let's go over the ones that I think is worth mentioning though. As One World Under Doom officially starts, the big Marvel event with Doom taking over and doing all this stuff. And so One World Under Doom. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm waiting to, but I'm looking forward to get into it eventually, just because if I could read everything, if I could, financially handle being able to read everything every week, I would, but it can't always read
everything,
right? Yeah, and so I made the decision to cut Fantastic Four for the reason of so I could just save it to read it as all this other stuff comes out on probably just Marvel Unlimited to read, so I can read all of it there. And so because there are a bunch of tie-ins, and I think the tie-ins seem interesting. I don't know how the quality of all of those tie-ins will turn out to be, but we'll see. But I can say, though, the main event I'm definitely looking forward to because Ryan North has done a great job writing Fantastic Four. So to see him given this whole One World Under Doom event to at least write the main stuff of it, I think is very exciting. And he's proven himself to me with being able to at least write Fantastic Four. So to see Doctor Doom on this brand new highlight, on this brand new spotlight that he's given, of being he's Sorcerer Supreme now and taking over and everything. I think it'll be interesting to see. So I'm looking forward to checking this out later on.
Yeah.
Another one that I wanted to highlight. I don't know when I'll check it out. Probably just wait for it digitally. But it is Eddie Brock is Carnage, written by Charles Soule, which is interesting. But yeah. But Eddie Brock has the Carnage symbiote. I haven't read Venom War yet. I'm actually looking into doing that soon. But I just want to bring that up because I like all the Venom stuff. All this, anything with symbiotes catches my eye. It's just one of the parts of the Marvel universe I really enjoy, and so. But
I hadn't even realized that was a thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. People are like looking forward to this one, I know, but it's Charles Soule writing, so I'm curious by it. So
yeah,
we'll see. I like to read the different symbiote stuff. So, but yeah, and then the last thing I wanted to highlight that's not on our list is this Image series called Bug Wars that I think we actually talked about this when it was announced.
I think we did, yeah.
And written by Jason Aaron, talking about like a big bug war in somebody's backyard. I remember finding that it sounded like a neat premise and that I could get down with it, especially with Jason Aaron writing. I think it could be something pretty good. So it's coming out this week though, so I might be very tempted to actually end up checking it out just to see if it's any good.
Yeah.
So. And then the last series that we want, or last issue that's coming out this week that we want to talk about is Green Lantern Corps, which is the start of the new Green Lantern Corps series, written by Jeremy Adams as well as Morgan Hampton. And so looking forward to seeing what this new era of Green Lantern Corps is going to get into, as I think they have an exciting new era set up for them. So, but yeah, I think that'll just tie right into our main topic, though, as we talk about the different, just talk about this current run of Green Lantern.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm looking forward to this book. Jeremy Adams has done a really good run so far of the Green Lantern flagship series.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be good to see him tackle all of these folks.
Oh yeah. Have Guy Gardner, Kyle,
Simon
Jessica
Baz,
Cruz, Simon Baz, John Stewart. Why can I not remember the other? I don't remember the little kid's name, but I should remember.
So we got from my left to right, starting at the top, we got Simon Baz, Ellie, I can't remember her full name, Sojourn.
That's what I was trying to think of.
I'm pretty sure that's Jessica Cruz. That's got to be Jessica Cruz.
Yeah.
And then, of course, John Stewart, Kyle, and Guy Gardner.
Yep. Yeah, so focusing on everybody that's not Hal Jordan.
No.
Pretty much.
Hal Jordan is nowhere on this cover at all.
That's because he has his own series.
He's got his own series.
He has his own series, so everybody else is finally given their own to be highlighted. And, this isn't a new idea. They've done this for a while, having a secondary Green Lantern Corps series. And so it's cool to see it being brought back, though, as I think it's actually been a long time since we've had a Green Lantern Corps series.
Has it? Yeah, I guess. I don't remember when the last one was.
I think the last one was during Rebirth era, and I don't remember.
Okay, yeah.
When how long, when it started, but it's been a few years at the very least since we've had a Green Lantern Corps series.
Do you remember a time when there were actually 3 Green Lantern titles?
I remember New 52 having a lot.
Yeah, because it had New Guardians as well.
And to add on to that, there's also Charles Soule's Red Lanterns that went on for 20 something issues. Yeah.
But yeah, Rebirth had Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
And it was I guess you can call it the sister title of Green Lanterns.
Right. I've never read any of that era yet. I haven't finished through New 52 to get there yet. I know you don't need to, but
it's really hard to beat the New 52 era of Green Lantern because it's
not bad. It wasn't bad from what I've read of it. I haven't read all of it yet, but
I mean that really is the at least to me is a definitive era of Green Lantern.
I think specifically the beginning of it with Geoff Johns, because as he finished it. Because the thing with Geoff Johns is New 52, was this big reboot. But then while they were doing that, though, Geoff Johns is I'm still gonna kind of just continue this Green Lantern stuff I'm doing, and so and he wasn't bothered. We got some new lanterns from it because that's where I got Simon Baz. But then it was he was also just still the whole time I'm just going to continue with this Green Lantern stuff I've been working on setting up and everything. So, but
we got some really good storylines out of the New 52 Green Lantern, though. But yeah, Rebirth, like you, is not one that I have really deep dived into.
It's on my list of stuff to get to eventually.
Yeah.
Just not high up there. But what we do have, though, is Jeremy Adams' run on Green Lantern that's been coming out a little over the last year and a half.
You know what? Before we jump into that, it just dawned on me something that we may have should have discussed at the beginning of the show, perhaps.
Okay.
But did you want to talk at all about the Fantastic Four trailer?
Well, we'll do some talk of that at the end if I think of it, if we remember it.
That's fine. We don't have to. I just wanted to throw it out there and see if it's something.
No. I think it could be worth talking a little bit. I know something else that's going on as well. I actually just started half an hour ago. Well, the pre-show. The main show starts at the top of the hour is the Puppy Bowl, where we're getting the supposedly a little new look at Superman there as well. So we'll see if anything ends up coming from that before we end as well. But we shall see. Because I don't know when that main little teaser thing, and it's I expect probably just a little 30-second TV spot or something, but we'll see if anything ends up coming from that before we end as well. So, but Green Lantern though. I really enjoyed this run, and the way that I decided that I wanted to talk about this run is that we'll be talking about the main highlights, and the way I kind of thought about it is like I just want to bring up the main bits of like why I really liked it and why I like this is the reasons of why you should be kind of like be checking out the sort of Green Lantern run. Because we don't necessarily want to be here to talk about every single issue in depth of all the story arcs in it, but I want to just talk about the highlights, some of the special things that it does for the lore of Green Lantern, and for anybody that's listening, you kind of just get a general idea of like what this is about, what new stuff it brings to the table. So while there will be spoilers, the intent isn't to spoil the whole story, but to be like, well, this is some of the awesome stuff that's going on, so you could get into reading this era of Green Lantern or something like that. So
yeah,
because I think there's some really cool ideas being brought to the table here with this, with what it's done, and so it starts with it begins with Hal Jordan on Earth, and you're kind of seeing him restricted to Earth as Earth is under like this quarantine, and that I think it brings a interesting first arc, as it's like he's restricted to Earth. He gets this special power or this special kind of ring from some sort of manhunter, and we get hints of all the stuff that's going on with Green Lantern, that's of Earth being at this restricted space, and we just kind of learn a bit more of that as we go. And we'll get into that here shortly, but we also get Sinestro being the main villain of this first arc, and so let's just kind of like talk about like how it sort of just begins, as I think that's just a good place to begin.
Yeah. So I wasn't originally reading this and actually read it on your recommendation, because I've actually not read a lot of Green Lantern at all lately, which is weird because like every time I go and read, I'm like, why am I not reading Green Lantern? Because I really like Green Lantern. It's just good title usually. But yeah, you recommended and said it was a good run. I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And I really like it. It's Jeremy Adams is doing a really good job. I wouldn't say that he writes it better than Jeff Johns.
I mean, okay, let's get this out of the way first.
But that's
Jeff Johns is like the pinnacle of Green Lantern. This has been, I would say, my favorite Green Lantern since the prime Jeff Johns era, I'd say.
Yeah. I'd go there. I really like this whole idea of the Guardians aren't there anymore.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I like the idea of this other group just kind of, they took over for the Guardians, or See, I don't know a lot of the background because I haven't read what was going on prior to that, but I get the impression from what I read that the Guardians kind of gave it over to them.
Right. There's definitely like I think some of a void there of like that story. I don't think is completely told. Like I know there's reasons of as far as like what happened with the Guardians as to why they left. I don't explicitly seeing if they left during, well, maybe they did during the last run of Green Lantern, which I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that I found that run to be extremely meh.
And,
And so,
I mean, maybe that story doesn't need to be told. Maybe it's just
sure.
fine. Just this happened, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen a bunch of flashbacks in this run in general, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like I think they've balanced out having a bunch of the flashbacks, I think, well, I would say.
But yeah, this first arc of the Earthbound Hal Jordan was a good start.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you see that he's stuck on Earth. I think I think it's just interesting with the idea that a Green Lantern can only be on Earth, and we see a bunch of familiar faces come back in different ways. Carol's there, but she's engaged, and so and then we see Kilowog there briefly, but then turns out that it's a fake Kilowog because Hal Jordan was just imagining him or willing him to be, and turns out that hinting at that he was dead.
That was that was shocking.
Yeah.
Kilowog's dead.
Yeah. Well, you know what's really cool about that too is I don't know how much he's appeared in the comics before, but when that reveal happened, because he's sitting there at the trailer park, right? Or not the trailer park, but just by himself there at his like trailer that he set up, right? We see Razor come in, and he was a character that originally didn't come from the comics. He was a character that came from the Green Lantern animated series that they did, the 3D Cartoon Network one, and like when that came out, I think just before the Green Lantern movie was when that came out, because I think they canceled season 2 because of the movie reception. But it was cool. I don't know if that character has really been used in the comics before in like the main universe, but to see him there, I think was really cool as well.
Yeah.
But then we have Sinestro as the villain, and I found that to be really cool because we see Sinestro in a different light where he's not using the yellow yellow ring as we know him to use. He's now instead using like this like red lantern energy that he's able to harness now, which is interesting, I thought. Or also just saying even before he really uses that too, though, we just see Sinestro just very incognito use it like just around on Earth and stuff, and causing all these hijinks as he's trying to get his message across before he even uses any of that Red Lantern stuff.
Yeah,
but it's really interesting, I think, seeing him use Red to harness the power of Rage. What'd you think about him using Rage?
I think it fits.
Yeah,
because everything that he's been through over the last few years, it's like, him using that tracks.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's interesting too because it also kind of sets up in a way too another big point of this series of the emotional spectrum just completely being changed.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I actually really like this series, is because it's just like, wow. I think it's a cool, unique way to look at it, because part of the reason why I love Green Lantern is because especially Jeff Johns, as he's really who like pioneered it all. with all the different colors was I just love the whole emotional spectrum and how each one stands for something, and having all the different colors on the screen, I think, or not on the screen, but like on the page, I think just makes some fantastic artwork. And so to see now that the emotional spectrum is being mixed up, Sinestro is now red. You have jumping ahead a little bit, but we learned that the Green Lantern Corps now is now able to like switch between the different colors of the spectrum, like on will. And so I found that to be just very interesting. I thought it was awesome. So
yeah, I definitely like the idea that they're digging into that the emotional spectrum has kind of gone bonkers.
Oh yeah. I think that's what makes
it
very intriguing. What up, Horsey? Good to see you here. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the first bit. Oh, we got a Flash team up at near the beginning of it too, which is interesting. So that was cool to see, especially since I know the last big series Jeremy Adams was writing before he got into Green Lantern was his Flash run. I haven't personally read his Flash run, but it's cool to see that to have those two characters together, even just for that issue, I think they're a cool team up that overlooked sometimes, and so cool to see that they had a moment together. One thing that happened before this issue, or maybe as an issue 2, that really annoyed me when this came out was how it tied into the Night Terrors event. Because I remember it came out, there's 2 issues that came out, and then Night Terrors came out and put the series on hold for like 2 months because it had the Night Terrors versions of Green Lantern come out. And I ended up reading those Night Terror issues too. And I was like, they didn't really add anything, I felt like. I mean, I guess it was kind of an interesting look into how. But it also really annoyed me because I was like, this new Green Lantern's out. It's great. And then they put a pause on it immediately.
Yeah. Well, if you read the trade of what's the name of the trade? It's Back in Action, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Back in Action, which is volume 1 of this run. It contains Green Lantern 1 through 6 and also Night Terrors 1 and 2.
Oh, that's good.
But it doesn't put Night Terrors at the end of the story. It like you're reading it, and then all of a sudden you're reading a completely different comic book.
Oh, that's how it happened.
And so at first I was like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? What is this? And then I was like, oh, okay, this did include a different story. So
that's interesting.
So yeah, it was a little weird. I'm like, I mean, yeah, I guess it kind of fits the story, but
it also
was it necessary?
It didn't really do much. It was just like it was kind of weird to the two because it reads very much like a filler, of like it's literally just about the terror getting inside of Hal Jordan's head, and it's like it is kind of just a mental breakdown of Hal Jordan in a way.
Yeah.
But like it didn't really add anything to the Night Terrors stuff, I think. It was just like, here's a look into Hal Jordan's psyche. Because I didn't read it when it came out because I was really bitter about them pausing Green Lantern. And I guess I'm kind of glad I didn't because, since I didn't feel like it added anything. But I did go back to read it on my reread. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm glad I didn't worry about trying to read that. It was something. But anyway, the end of the first arc, we have Green Lantern and Sinestro. They have their big battle going on. Absolutely love the art and all this as well, as they just go at it. There's some amazing spreads that happen as well with their battle, which I think is fantastic. Yeah, there's a look at some of the art right there. But it's just of their battle together. All the different red and the green clashing against each other. It's fantastic. So, but I think it was a very good. Oh, I also love this too. I love that how Jordan literally summons a mech, and at the end of that, at the end of that first arc, I absolutely love that. That was great.
I really liked this idea that for some reason there is a power battery on Earth just hiding.
Yes.
And it's always been there. And it's
yes.
Like, what?
yeah, that is the Guardian's secret thing. Well, here's the thing, though. That brings up a good point, because that was kind of like the first big point of the next arc, is that there's this power battery in Earth that the Guardians have kept there. And I remember one of the complaints that people have over Green Lantern Mythos is that there's too many Earth Lanterns. Do you think now that theoretically that this power battery was there the entire time, do you think there's the reason why we've had so many Earth Lanterns is because there is this natural sort of what do you want to say, natural sort of pull to them because of that sort of power battery there the entire time?
Part of me thinks that there are so many from Earth because they need they need a team of Green Lanterns protecting it, even though they don't know they're protecting it.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's a bunch of theories you could get into as why there is a lot, but I just, part of me made me curious after finding out there's a power battery there, if that's part of the reason why.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know. I haven't
really I don't know
my head around it yet.
So I don't know, but yeah, I definitely found that power battery on Earth to be really cool and interesting. Before that was actually revealed, though, we got that big flashback with the power battery being destroyed on Korugar. The big yellow light, or yellow lantern battery on Korugar. As we first start seeing the what are they called? The United Planets, led by Theros, take over the Green Lantern Corps, and so we start seeing a little bit of his motive there, as he was introduced in this flashback issue. Well, for the most part, is a flashback issue, and so adding a bunch of context there, saying Kilowog fall. But I thought that was an interesting issue, as we got to get a glimpse of what was going on. We got our first glimpse of the corrupt United Planets that's been running the Green Lantern Corps now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's interesting too. Like, I mean, I think that's another interesting idea, is not only is the emotional spectrum fractured and the Corps can now harness the different colors, and that Theros has all these Green Lanterns that's now there because all his loyal Green Lanterns are there, and then he sent like all the other ones that's been with the Corps for a while out on the deep spaces and outer, well, what do you want to call it, outer reaches or whatever.
Yeah. So you got the ones that are loyal to the United, whatever they're called, right. And then you got the double agent.
Right. Yes. And so, but
no spoilers there, you'll find out.
But I like it's an interesting seeing this idea, though, of the Green Lanterns being corrupt, I think, and while also having this new ability. I think it's made a really interesting threat for the series.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, this was a good idea for a new, like you said, threat
Mm-hmm.
for the
It feels very fresh, and that's what's awesome, I think.
yeah.
Matthew, what's up, Matthew? Good to see you here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's I think yeah, I really like how it's just changed and to have like it feels very fresh overall with all the different ideas that it's brought together and everything. And so, and that's why I've really enjoyed this series is you have all these different cool ideas that's being brought together of like the different emotional spectrum being fractured, and then and it also just like feels like Green Lantern to me as well. I think it's
Oh
a
yeah.
thing is just you have Hal Jordan feeling like he's Hal Jordan. I like that he's in the spotlight, being the main character of it. And just all the stuff he does is like it doesn't shine back from like, oh, this is all the cool stuff you could do with the Green Lantern ring, right? Like literally the limits of what you can do with any colored ring theoretically is your imagination. And I don't think it I don't think it shies away from that. Like as we were literally just talking about a moment ago, you literally see Hal Jordan use it for a big Green Lantern mech, and I'm like, that's just awesome.
Yeah, that was
it's awesome. What up, bro? Yeah, comic. Indeed.
Nerds.
But yeah, yeah. There's been a lot of great stuff with it. That's for sure.
Definitely.
I'm trying to think. We have. I mean, well, what do you think about the villain of Theros?
I think he's a good villain. I mean, he's basically like this politician that takes over the Green Lanterns and starts using it for his own purposes. It's very oh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very relatable to modern society.
Suppose so. Yeah. It's yeah, absolutely. Seeing a bit of the idea.
I'm not referring to one particular person. I'm just saying like
no.
It's like that is like the history of our civilization. There's always like this guy, this cult of personality that takes over, and it turns out, kind of turns around and bites us in the ass.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, Theros is I think he's been a good unique, or not unique, but because he kind of does fall into a lot of the traditional sort of new villain overall sort of category. But I think he's been interesting though, as we've trying to figure out what he's doing. But then he has that, and we get a bit more with him later on, especially by the end arc, where I think that's we'll get to that end arc here in a moment, but I think his character really kind of like shines a little bit more there in some ways, and you're really trying to like see how messed up he is. But yeah, he definitely serves that role well for the role he's meant to fill. But we also though see Oa seeing that in a different light now as well, which was interesting. Seeing we seeing like a Green Lantern resistance there, and Kyle being all broken and and all that there. I'm trying to look through and see if there's anything else that really wanting to come up with. See that they had a whole plan to reveal to the United Planets that Theros is evil, but then turns out that they're all, I believe they're called Durlans. This is race, and they can shapeshift.
Yeah, and it turns out that the council is
they're all Durlans.
I mean, they're all
they're all evil.
Yeah. The whole council is like basically Darlings that are shapeshifting to be.
Yeah, when that plot line was happening, I was like, there's no way this is gonna work. Like, I knew something was gonna be like happen when like they were gonna do that. I was like, there's something else going on here. And then they're all able. It's like, okay, that's definitely fishy.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on.
So yeah, it just shows how corrupt and all that he is. We also see something that this goes into is it has those absolute power tie-in issues.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of appreciated the way that those were done. Of like, well, it's like, sure, you had to have Hal doing the absolute power stuff because I get it, you have to tie in absolute power. It's a big event, right? But
yeah,
I liked though that Jeremy Adams was still able to write it in a way where, while Hal wasn't the focus doing the stuff there, that was maybe a third of the issue. He was able to spend a lot of time as well to kind of like focus on the Green Lantern universe growing.
Yeah.
And so I actually really like that about these tie-in issues in particular. And it didn't disrupt the flow too much when just reading these, I felt like. And so I really like that, especially with something that happened just before the Absolute Power tie-ins, but was a big force in the Absolute Power tie-ins was of Carol Ferris returning as a Star Sapphire, getting that ring again, which is cool. And she plays a huge role in that. And I like seeing her role that she plays as Star Sapphire in this series as well. As at first she was just there to be the force to help Hal, but then after that, she's kind of grown into her own role a little bit as the series has gone on. And so I've liked seeing that.
Yeah, I'd like to see. I'd like to see what else they're going to do with her, if anything.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked the time that they took to just grow out the universe and these different absolute power tie-ins. And actually, I forgot too, in one of these absolute, I think it was his first absolute power tie-in, we got our first hint at something that's actually about to be prevalent, I think, here pretty soon in the upcoming Green Lantern issues of the new. We have a new emotion on the spectrum now.
Oh yeah.
The emotion of sorrow now, which is like a gray sort of I don't know. Gray, it's just a new gray color on the spectrum now. As the person that Carol was going to be with, I don't remember his name, but
after being Nathan, was it Nate?
Nate? I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
We all just call him Nate, so we have a name that sounds close enough for me, I guess. But Cornelia was rejected, like literally right as they were about to get married in Vegas. Carol left him, and so but I find it cool though that we're getting a brand new color on the spectrum though, especially with it kind of being part of a consequence to the emotional spectrum being fractured, and that's literally like part of the hint though too, of it being called that fractured spectrum.
Nathan, I was right.
There you go.
I looked it up.
There we go. And so I find it cool that we have a new emotion, or a new color on the spectrum, a new emotion on the spectrum. And I'm curious too if we're going to end up getting any more emotions on the spectrum as well. I think it'd be really neat.
I kind of wonder if we're getting like they're gearing up for a almost a sequel of sorts to Blackest Night.
That'd be kind of interesting. Like sorrow is the main new like sort of thing.
Like a new huge Green Lantern crossover.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Story. Like, when's the last time we've even had one of those?
Blackest Night.
Well, I mean, Brightest Day was right after, wasn't it? But even then, those were like right beside each other.
Yeah.
So But yeah, no, I'd love to see one if they could do that. We'll see. We will see. Very exciting stuff as they bring all that. And but then I guess we get into sort of like the last main bit of the run with the Civil Core stuff that we get into, where we see we got the Civil Core special, and that kind of like combines what was going on with Green Lantern War Journal, and then this. Well, wait, before we get into that, then let's since we both read through War Journal, let's kind of like spend a moment to just like briefly talk about like what we liked about War Journal, at least, or yeah, because War Journal had this like interesting threat with like the whole what was that threat called in it? But then you have like that whole like Dark Star ring in it, and like another sort of special kind of ring in it, and not necessarily a new Spectrum, but like it sets it up in another way. I think of it being like some sort of special multiversal threat that he has to deal with. But I found all that really interesting as well. That plays a big role into what's going to go on here in this last bit of the Green Lantern sort of arc here before you get all caught up. And so I found it interesting of how it kind of just culminates into it there. So anything you have to add about the War Journal stuff as far as like what it adds?
Ads. I don't know what really
or
adds. It's kind of a standalone.
Okay, let me ask you this. You read up to like the current stuff and then went back and read War Journal.
Yeah.
Did you feel as if you were missing out on something when an aspect of War Journal played a big part in those last few issues?
Not really. Like, there wasn't really anything. I really don't think it added anything to the main story. It was like, I guess I have a different view of War Journal series. It was just a really good story on its own.
Well,
about John Stewart, and yeah, I don't know.
While I agree with that, I would just add that in this final main bit of the Civil Core arc, we see Theros and the main sort of threat from War Journal there for a bit together, as we see. Well, we also see Theros take the what's it called, the Dark Star ring from War Journal, and so like
right.
So like there's those aspects of War Journal that's tied into it, and while I read it when I was reading it, because I didn't reread War Journal, I was just focusing on the main Green Lantern stuff. But I was looking at it, I was like, they don't really do much to talk about it, especially what this stuff is. Now they do kind of give at one point like go check out Green Lantern War Journal, but I kind of viewed it as like that stuff was kind of just there. You just kind of like, if it didn't bother you that you didn't know what the weapon was, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
But then if you felt like it's something new that came out of nowhere, I think that would also be a completely valid feeling, as it did play a big role. I felt as if.
Yeah, the War Journal story, I just thought it was a really good story about John Stewart and this whole aspect of him as the builder.
Yeah.
And how it just kind of, what I really liked about that story overall was this aspect of it taking place outside. There was a certain portion of the story that took place outside of the known universe.
Oh yeah, that was
like
cool.
He's flying around. He's like, I don't recognize these stars.
yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
And then you've got this guy, this like old. Now I can't remember his name, but the old like curmudgeon-y guy that turns out is like his key to getting back to his universe.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was a really cool story.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was really cool.
And I think the number of issues that they did, and then just kind of stopped. I think it was appropriate to stop there
For just War Journal. Is that what you're talking about?
for just War Journal like
yeah.
that. Like
it was just a good, respectable 12 issues, and there's a goal that the writer had in mind, and he did a great job with it, I think. And it was just a good, standalone story for the most part.
Yeah. Like I don't feel gypped, I guess would be to say that we did not get more War Journal.
No, I respect it being one of those series that knew when to end, that knew it wanted to tell the specific story, and it told that specific story within those 12 issues.
But you get the story of John Stewart and his mom, and this like construct of his sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just a really interesting story.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. So, but that story.
But I don't think you have to read War Journal to understand what's going on in Green Lantern, and vice versa.
For the most part, because it's not like a weapon that, like, I don't know. I would say you don't have to understand what's going on, but it feels very much like a finale event. Civil Core does, of like, here's all the stuff that's going on now. All of a sudden, it takes some aspects of both of them and mashes them together to sort of end this sort of first main overall arc of Green Lantern, as we see Gross and that threat from War Journal actually kind of get like as they get stopped. And so I don't know. I can kind of go both ways with it, though. Of saying that you do or don't need it. I wouldn't say you absolutely need to, but I would say it provides some important context. How about that?
Yeah. It definitely does provide context, but I don't think it's a necessary read.
Sure. I could see where you come from there. So, but I'm trying to think if there's what crazy stuff Civil Core did. We got to see Mogo as a Red Lantern. The Green Lantern that's a planet was a red planet and was literally like a Death Star.
Yeah.
It's crazy too. And not just destroying any small world too. It destroyed the Thanagarian world. What is that called? Thanagar. That's it.
Yeah.
Destroyed Thanagar, where it's like, holy crap, that's huge. And then you see Sinestro come in and literally take all of its rage, which is also wild. But yeah, I think wow, that was wild seeing Mogo literally be a
Death Star. Yeah,
be a Death Star. Yeah, that was pretty wild. Something that we saw a tiny bit of, we didn't get see too much of it, but is cool though, was we see all the what are they called? We saw the entity of love for a tiny bit. And it was interesting to see how it was trying to manipulate Carol, but she saw through it and was able to make it back away. And so that was interesting. We see Kyle be a White Lantern again, finally harnessing it and trying to balance out the emotional spectrum of what they're doing, or at least help rescue it, I guess. He was just there to try to protect it.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to see that. It has me curious of seeing like what stuff Kyle may get into in this Green Lantern Corps series. I'm trying to remember like what else, because Civil Corps was just a big finale event. In some ways, it felt a little weird because it kind of just happens right after the absolute power stuff. So it's kind of weird because it was like rush from one thing to another thing, I felt like. But I still liked the Civil Corps stuff they did. And the villains were defeated in a way where, I mean, obviously nobody's ever fully dead in the world of any comic stuff, right? Like,
right.
But they're defeated in a way, though, that while it was quick, it wasn't a way of like, oh, they're going to be gone forever. They could very easily come back, I think, as they're kind of just banished somewhere. And it's like, okay, well, that's a threat taken care of for now, at least. So, but yeah, I've really enjoyed this Green Lantern stuff, as I think it's just had a bunch of cool ideas.
Yeah. I have purposely not started the next story arc.
Yeah, I started it. Yeah,
of Green Lantern. Yeah,
right. So we have there's the Fractured Spectrum one shot or special that came out last month, and that like is kind of like the special that's kind of like the intro to what this new era is going to be. I don't know if era is the right word, but like the next main start of the next main overall arc, I guess you could say, a better word for it. And then Green Lantern 19, I think, gets into some new stuff. I remember reading a article headline that I think you actually shared about like some sort of vampire thing being evolved. So I don't know. Be interesting to see how what new direction Green Lantern's going on into now.
Yeah.
And so, and especially now with the Green Lantern Corps, and I think they're building up stuff that as we were just talking about a little bit ago, I think it'd be awesome for it to be a big event of some kind. I don't know what kind of event or what exactly they're doing, but if we could get a new Green Lantern event, I didn't even think about that prior to us talking, and now I really want that.
Yeah. I'd like to see another big Green Lantern event.
Yeah. I hope DC can give it to us. So we'll see what happens. I've really enjoyed this run, though. I definitely recommend anybody to check it out.
Definitely.
I was want to say, it's like even if you, I would think that even if you haven't read much Green Lantern, you could still go in and enjoy this series, though. While it touches on some previous aspects of Green Lantern, I don't think you need to know any of it, though, to enjoy the series. What do you think?
You know, I can't talk intelligently about that because I have read a lot of Green Lantern, so it's kind of hard to look at it from.
Well, sure, but sure. I was just thinking of it as like it brings in a bunch of new ideas, and while it reuses a bunch of older ideas here and there, I don't think it presents it in a way that if you didn't know about what they were, you'd be completely lost. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm looking at it from an angle of like if you've never read any Green Lantern, would this storyline make sense to you? I don't know. I guess it could.
I say it's interesting though. It's just like, you know, that is an interesting idea of like if you've never ever read Green Lantern. Like here's the thing though, is like if you just don't know who Green Lantern is as a character, I don't know if I'd necessarily say to begin right here, go read Jeff Johns stuff. But
yeah,
if you at least know of what Green Lantern is and you know the general idea of behind a lot of it, I'd say you could read this, because I think that's like that's two different things when you, depending on when you ask for a starting place for somebody, you know, of if they know generally who the character is or not versus not knowing the character at all. So, but that's just how I look at it. So
yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, but no, if I was gonna recommend some Green Lantern to read for somebody who's never read Green Lantern, I probably wouldn't recommend this.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's kind of hard to, I think, when you have so many big stories for certain people and characters to
I mean,
recommend like
I'm
current run.
trying to wrap this around my head, and I'm thinking it doesn't really tie in with any. Well, you know what? Until you get into the whole thing with Kyle and the White Lantern, that's probably not going to make any sense to you.
That's true. Yeah, that's.
But outside of that, I guess you don't really have to know the whole Green Lantern mythos. I mean, obviously, if you're going to read this book, you know who Green Lantern is.
Right, exactly.
So, okay, you read this and okay, you know who Hal Jordan is. All right, okay, you're good. You're good. You know who Hal Jordan is. He's a Green Lantern. Okay, pick it up from there. Yeah, maybe you can pick this book up. Until it gets into more meat and it starts tying into stuff that, like, at some point during the story, you're going to be like, okay, well, what are they talking about?
Yeah, I could see.
You got to read Blackest Night to understand that.
Yeah, I could see that bit. Yeah,
but outside of that, yeah, this would probably be a decent story for somebody that's never read Green Lantern before.
Yeah,
up to a point.
Sure. Yeah. See, that's the only part that is kind of like contradicting, because you want to know who that emotional entity is, but at the same time, it's like, do you need to know who that emotional entity is, though? You know?
Well, you know what? And the Star Sapphire thing would probably confuse you too.
Maybe. Could see that. But overall, though, this is a really good run, though. I'm glad to have, after all these years, like a proper good like Green Lantern run back. Of like the last run didn't really do it for me, and then you had like Grant Morrison's Green Lantern stuff, which is kind of just weird that happened. And then I haven't read Rebirth. I can't speak on the Rebirth, but like those two runs in particular are kind of just weird. And I don't know.
The Grant Morrison one?
The Grant Morrison one and the one that came before this. I don't remember written by who, but it's like where you found that one child person that we're talking about earlier on the cover of Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
I know its arcs were called like Invictus and Horridus or something like that.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the name, but yeah.
But like those were kind of just weird.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into those too much. Not necessarily saying they were bad. Well, I couldn't get into Horridus much. I think was the second one of those. But Invictus wasn't bad. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I don't think I read that one.
I did. It was okay. Yeah. But all right. Anything else you have to say about Green Lantern?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, you mentioned the Fantastic Four trailer, so let's talk about let's go through that here really quick. I'm not gonna have the audio of it on stream, but it's been out for several days now. So if you haven't watched it, what are you doing? But
yeah,
but we'll just you should be able to hear the audio of this. So, but let's go through it. So right here. her echoing somewhere, but if it's good for you, that's all that matters. I like how Thing looks. Looks like a really good thing, quite literally.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, seeing them all go up and said everybody. I like how we can see Thing in the trench coat there. It's good. Nice. See, something I found really interesting about this trailer is that we get highlights of everybody except Reed Richards.
Except for what?
Except for Reed Richards.
Oh.
I like the look at Galactus there, though. Yeah. I look at that.
Yeah, Galactus looks pretty cool.
He looks good, and I like too that they're going with like the size of he was, and but the I like his size of this is like comparable to the original Galactus when you first see him in the Fantastic Four trilogy, or the Galactus trilogy as it's called. Were you going to show the video but not the audio? Oh, you're right. I forgot to share the video there, but yeah, I'll just have this play through there. But yeah, we have Herbie looks good.
Yeah.
Like how I don't know. They have a bunch of proper designs for their characters, I think. And so it's good to see how they look there. It's interesting they reference how they got their powers, and
yeah, I'm glad they're not doing an origin story.
I was gonna say it seems like it's gonna touch on it, but I hope it doesn't lean too much into it, because it looks like we're getting glimpses of it though.
They definitely did a good job visually, like making it look like it's from the 60s.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea to have it in the 60s. Are you familiar with this character that John Malkovich is playing? He literally looks the role of the character he's playing, but I'm not familiar with the villain that he's playing. I'm trying to remember his
villain. Red crap. Yeah, I'm having a brain fart.
The Red Ghost, aka Ivan Kragoff.
Yeah. Familiar, yes. I know who he is, but not like he's not a character that I have. Well, let's be real. He's not a character I care about.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with that character, but I've like for the images I've seen of him, I'm like he looks pretty close to the part there.
Yeah.
And so that's cool.
Interesting. I mean, it's an interesting interesting role for him. And also makes sense that they're putting him in the first Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
Because he is generally a Fantastic Four villain.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to kind of serve like a role as like Mole Man does, you know, being like that first early sort of villain.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if they're going to refer to the super apes.
that'd be interesting.
Because that was a big red ghost thing. He had the super apes.
Yeah.
That fought Fantastic Four on numerous occasions.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I mean,
hoping
I'm looking forward to it, but I can't say that I am excited about it in the same way that I am excited for Superman.
I very much agree with that. Like while I'm looking forward to it, and I think it'll be a good Fantastic Four story. I'm definitely not excited for it in the same way I am for Superman.
Yeah.
I feel like they also played this trailer very safe as well. Of like, we saw. I know the thing that most people are apprehensive about with this cast is Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. We didn't really get to see him in this, and the other thing that we didn't get to see of, but we know as part of the movie is this universe's version of Silver Surfer, which is actually essentially just Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is just Shia LaBeouf they're using actually. But and you know that's something that people aren't going to be happy about either. So
Yeah.
solid first teaser though. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Be interesting to see when it comes out.
Yeah, I agree. Taco Cat saying I think Superman win his year. I think I see Superman potentially being bigger for sure.
Yeah. I think this is probably going to fare better than previous iterations of
Oh yeah,
Fantastic Four live action,
for sure.
which really is it's a low bar because
Especially with like how they previously handled the Galactus storyline or all that, you know.
yeah.
And so, like, I like that's what makes me happy is like the first time they get the Galactus storyline, I actually really like that cast of Fantastic Four. Like that the who they found, I don't remember his name, but who they found to play Reed Richards in, and like just everybody, I think they all played their roles well. What just sucks about that movie, like that first movie, I think is not a bad movie by any means. I think it's fine. Like it's not great now compared to like the other stuff that we have now, but like it's not a bad movie. And I think the second one was okay until you get to like that third act where you get into all the dumb Galactus crap and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like even then, it's like you got to see Silver Surfer there, and you felt like Silver Surfer, and there's all this stuff going on there, and like I don't think any of that was bad per se, except for what they did in the third act there with Galactus. So, so we'll see. I am looking forward to Galactus though, and I mean that Galactus looks really good. So
yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
What up, Dragon Buddy?
What's up, Dragon Buddy?
But yeah, we'll see. I'm hopeful for it. So, is there anything else we have going on?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Well, happy Puppy Bowl Day is we're gonna get a little bit of a look at Superman there soon, probably. I don't think that's out yet, but I'm double checking that the thing's already out for Superman, but I don't think it's out yet. Yeah, but yeah, no, okay. So yeah, all right. Thank you for coming by, then, everybody. Where can the people find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Otter272. And for now, you can find my podcast, Rebel Rock Radio, at bio.link/Rebel Rock Radio. We go live on Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Nice. Alrighty. Well, go check out Rebel Rock Radio there. And be sure to come back here on the Dingus Den next week where actually we need to figure out what we're talking about. I know we had a plan for what we were originally going to do, and we just haven't talked about if that's what we're going to end up doing or anything. So we had stuff somewhat planned. So but we'll talk about that here in just a moment. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming by. Thank you. I appreciate everybody that's come and stopped by and hung out. It's been a good show. Go celebrate the Puppy Bowl or the Super Bowl, however you celebrate day to day, and enjoy it. So until then, I'll see you all later.
See ya.
Dingus Den.